If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Canes Wear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CFs, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Canes Wear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
Are live. It is Tuesday night, 8 p.m. It is time for the Squared Circle Digest. I am Sean Stanley. That guy right there, Frankie Fresco. So, and then we are the Squared Circle Digest. Frankie's going to join me from now on, I hopefully. And Cat for Life already in on the chat. We're going to get things started. Normally start with a little bit of the ratings, and then we're going to dive right in to what everybody wants to talk about today. And that, of course, is the fact that Rhea Ripley is the new SmackDown Women's Champion. We know that's all everybody's caring about right now. That's the only thing going on in everybody's mind. But no, we're going to get to Vince McMahon. Terry, what's up, my man? And Frankie, I'm going to get you on in a minute. I'm going to go right through the ratings real quick, and then we'll go right into our thoughts on the stuff. I'm going to start. We'll go back to AEW Dynamite, which was last Wednesday, which tomorrow is the one we're going to preview that as well. They did 833,000 viewers. The 18 to 49 was at 0.28. Rampage on Friday, which again, Rampage is a recorded show. They're not going to draw a lot. It's on at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. It did 340,000. It was 43rd in the cable. Now again, WrestleMania weekend. So when I announce these, understand this was the lead in to WrestleMania weekend, and then also a lead in to the Hall of Fame. It was, let me see here a minute. Hold on a minute. SmackDown did a 2.484. It was number 3 in the broadcast primetime and cable. It was the highest SmackDown viewership since January 27th and the highest 18 to 49 since Christmas 2020 with the NFL lead in. Then Raw last night, this one caught me. And again, I know a lot of people were jumping in on the thing from the carryover from WrestleMania, did a 2.26 last night. Number one cable for 18 to 49ers, the highest total viewership since the Raw 30th episode on January 23rd. Now listen to this. The highest 18 to 49 viewership since February 17th, 2020, before the pandemic. 2020, before the pandemic. And a lot of that had to do with the one, the only Vincent Kennedy McMahon. And Frankie, we're going to have, me and you, we're going to banter back and forth. We might agree on some things. We might disagree on some things, but we're going to have some fun. And that's why I wanted to kind of move to this format so we can bounce things off each other. Vince McMahon, is he back in charge of WWE Creative? Not is he back in charge of WWE, is he back in charge of WWE Creative? What do you think, Frankie?
All right, so once again, guys, welcome. Thank you, Shawn, again for having me. And yes, we'll see if we could try to do this every time we can. Vince McMahon. Wow. I think he's back. He's back 100%. He is taking over WWE again. And I'll tell you, the reason I say that is because if you notice what happened in Monday Night Raw, if you've been watching Twitter news and wrestling news, everybody's talking about it, that this McMahon is starting to change again the narrative in some of these storylines. Oh man, this almost fell on me. Hold on.
Yeah, see, same thing happens to me, right? It happens to me. All right. Yes.
You're not the only one, Shawn.
I'm
You're
not the only one, man. Good deal.
So I have the feeling that it's gonna happen. We might have a situation where Vince McMahon is going to take over, but we're really going to find out on Friday night SmackDown, because he was at WrestleMania. He was on Monday night because there was still in LA, if I'm not mistaken. So SmackDown is not. I'm not too sure where are they going to be in SmackDown on Friday.
They're in Portland, Oregon. This is Friday.
Okay, so if Vince McMahon is in Portland, Oregon, then you know that he's taking over.
Yeah, but also remember though, he can also veto stuff from remote. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, I think he's back 100%. And I was listening to, and if you guys do not follow him, I would definitely follow him. Sean Ross Sapp with Fightful, and then also WrestleNomics is another one that you'd want to follow for news and things like that. I know Fightful has a paywall behind them, but a lot of the stuff, they are on top of a lot of this stuff. And one of the things that was interesting was the first couple weeks Triple H took over, 15 new hires. That slowed down as Vince started working his way back in. You know, and then also on the production sheets, there's yellow highlighter on them again. And this is something Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful Select pointed out, again, behind the paywall, was that the yellow highlight means that the person, whoever's speaking that, has to speak it verbatim. That's exactly how it has to be read if it's highlighted in yellow. They had gone away from that, allowing a lot of these, you know, kind of free range on some of this stuff. That has returned now once again. And then also, of course, if you saw last night, you saw, you know, and also I thought about this too afterwards. And shame on me, by the way. I picked Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens to win the tag team titles. And then I also picked Cody to win the undisputed universal title, which would have left the bloodline with nothing. Didn't even think about it. Didn't even cross my mind when I was looking at the predictions, because I was into that storyline. They hook, line, and sinkered me into there before, you know, we'll get into more of that. But when you start looking at some of the things, and also apparently Bobby Lashley had petitioned and had kind of got the okay to where it was going to be Bobby Lashley against LA Knight. That match ended up getting scrapped. On Raw last night, there was people sitting behind the production, which usually when you get media credentials and things like that, they sit you kind of behind either the hard camera or behind the thing, different areas where they can't really sell the tickets or something like that. There were guys behind there, and they tweeted out, they had seen runners bring 3 to 4 different sheets of paper up to them as the show was going on. Not as the show was going on, they were still making changes. The matches were brought out because, Fightful gets the insight. There were supposed to be 2 triple threat women's matches. That got changed into 1 tag team match. And 1 person was missing from that tag team match. Bayley was scheduled to go out with Damage Control. At the last minute, they scrapped her. They scrapped Bayley from going out with Damage Control. Bayley is Damage Control.
Let me chime in a little bit here. I heard also that the Omos fight was just incorporated last minute. I heard that Omos was actually not prepared to wrestle, and then they threw him in there with Elias. And I was
in catering. He was in catering, and they had to get his gear. They had to make his gear for him.
That's insane.
He wasn't scheduled to wrestle.
And the crazy thing is that the Twitter world is also saying that a lot of these wrestlers are now, I don't know if it's true or not, but the rumors are saying that they want to leave, that they are trying to get out of the contract. What I read was that some of them wanted to either just run out their contract and then leave, and some of them were going to go ahead and just try to get out of the contract immediately, which by saying Bayley, I wouldn't be surprised if not. This is just my opinion. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe she is one of them. Because
they can ask for the release, but WWE could be like, no, you just sit at home. And I think that's what's going to happen.
But if I was Bayley, I would be mad. They brought
these talents in, Triple H did, and now Vince is the one that fired him before. Remember this.
Yeah.
And then another thing that was brought up by Shawn, and I didn't even think about it until now, was where did you see Johnny Gargano this weekend?
In NXT.
In NXT. Did you see anything to do with, besides Braun Strowman, any other talent that were brought back? Were any of them on WrestleMania?
No.
It goes to show you right there.
And
then also it's been said that Endeavor, they were one of the higher bids, but they were also the one that kind of said they wanted to keep Vince in power. They wanted to keep Vince there. So Vince was working the deal to where he would be able to stay in, and then also they're going to do stuff internationally. So it made sense financially for him, and he's going to be able to stick around and run it basically.
I think
the CNBC stuff, the guy kissed his ass.
And I think Fightful was saying as well that they were assuming that maybe Endeavor was the only one that actually gave him an offer to buy.
Well, the offer to buy and to keep Vince in power.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I believe that is 100% true. And then that's, again, Vince said, I'm working this deal. And maybe it wasn't necessarily, and again, he's making a lot financially. Could he have made more financially if he sold to the Saudis? Probably. Then they probably would have replaced him.
Now, a big question here for you, Shawn. Mm-hmm. Did you like the Vince without a stash or the Vince with a stash?
I think the Vince with the stash is more him because he's a little conniving, evil little bastard.
It actually suited him really well.
It does. It's like that guy, like, $1 million. It's like,
that was so funny
for him.
That was.
And it's like, it's one of those things to where, and you sit there and you look at this and it's like, man, I tweeted out yesterday. I was like, right when I was thinking everything was going so well, it's like, it's almost like a kidney punch, man. It's going to go back to everything that's bad, man. It's going to go back to everything that is bad about damn.
Time to jump ship, Shawn. Time to jump ship.
No. I ain't gonna do all that now. I'm not jumping ship yet, man. Although I'm not even on a ship. I'm on both, man. I'm on all the ships. This weekend I've watched quite a bit of GCW. Again, it's not necessarily my cup of tea, all the, the hardcore death matches and all that stuff, but there's good talent, man. And it takes, and some of the other stuff that I was watching on Fight TV this whole weekend, man, it was great. It was great. And then the cards, look, I get it. Night 1 to me, far and above better than night 2. night 2, and then not only night 2 was the card not as good, but then you had Finn Balor get hurt, so they had to cut the Hell in a Cell match short, and then you get Cody, the twist to where you're like, what the hell is going on?
Well, it all started once Shane O'Mac pulled that injury, bro. Did you see that? I you know what's funny, guys, is that I sent a message to Shawn. I was like, is that fake, or did he really get injured? And Shawn is like, look, and he sends me a photo, and there it is. He's literally being carried out, and I'm like, wow.
I thought it was a knee, and then I stayed up to watch the press conferences.
I did too.
Triple H said, "Oh no, he just tore his quad." And I was like, "Oh, that's why his knee." Like I thought it was his knee because his knee buckles in. It's because he tore his quad. There's nothing there holding the knee up, so it just kept collapsing on him because he tried to get up.
Did you hear that? This is what I heard, is that the referee was the one that told.
Yeah, Jessica Carr was the one that kind of, she was like, "Oh, punch him, rock people's elbow."
Yeah, I thought Snoop
through it.
I thought it was Snoop who came up with that idea, but man,
I think, again, like she might have been like, do something, and he was like, I'm doing people's elbow.
and you saw Triple H at the press conference. He was saying, "Oh, Snoop, what a great guy! What an entertainer!" And he may sold it like if he was the one that actually just jumped in and did that.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I think, look, man, I think they both realized we got to do something.
Yeah,
because again, it's they probably had another 2 minutes to go. And we got to waste some time because, what do? You can't just sit there and be like, oh, let's roll Shane O'Mac over and whatever, because they're still working on the poor guy too, right there in the thing. And I think that was part of the problem too, is like, you got the guy's leg, like you can't just be bouncing around the ring with the guy bouncing around with a damn torn quad either, So they finally get him out of the ring, and then he does the people's elbow, and it sends everybody home happy. Man, let's go. Let's jump over the Cody part, Frankie. Let's go right into our since we're already into the WrestleMania part of it now. For you, what was the best, not best match, your best moment? It could be the same. Maybe it's the same, but what was your best moment?
My best moment, to be honest, it might shock you guys, but it was a match, and it was Bianca Belair against Asuka. I thought that fight delivered, and I'm not a Bianca Belair fan, but I was really sold on that fight as they were going ahead and going at it. And then I also saw like a reel that they had on WWE, and they were showing how Bianca Belair was prepping up with Montez in the background. Like she was like nervous or something, or I guess maybe she does this type of preparation, or maybe it was because it was such a huge crowd and it's WrestleMania, but she was really, really into it, and she seemed like she was ready for it. And I was impressed. I honestly, out of all the matches that happened on both nights, that match, I don't know why, it just felt like it clicked. And I was very happy with both of them performing. That's why I was a little bit disappointed when I heard that Asuka wants to supposedly get released. Like she wants to release and wants to go and wrestle again in Japan.
I don't know. But if she's not going to get used the way she should get used, then.
But she should realize that it was a great fight, and how long has she been going for recently? She hasn't been going for that long.
Yeah, but they had her there. And they had her do that clown gimmick type thing.
Yeah.
Then they disappeared, and then they brought her back. This as the evil, the evil Asuka this time more. But that's selling. Before. But again, it just didn't pay off, man. That's the problem. Is also like maybe that got changed too. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Maybe Asuka thought, "Hey, I'm winning this," and then Vince comes in and is like, "Nope, Bianca wins this."
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I thought she did a great job, even though she lost. And I'm maybe one of the rare ones who feels that Asuka didn't lose anything by losing this match. I think her being evil Asuka, you could build this up, because remember, they just brought her back as like evil Asuka. So I'm like, why can't you just build her up and make her into what she was back then? And I love this character for her. And I mean, I get it. Maybe they knew more behind the scenes because of this whole selling stuff. So they probably said, hey, right now we can't afford to have Asuka be the WWE champion, the Monday Night champion. We need Bianca to still stay champ. But I think they both nailed it, man. They did a phenomenal job. I fell in love with that fight. I don't know if a lot of you guys agree with me, but I thought it was a really good fight.
No, I thought it was probably the last 3 matches of night 2 saved night 2 from being an utter disaster. That was the Asuka Bianca Belair. The Hell in the Cell was delivering up until, and again, I think it's still delivered. You had Staples put in his head, and then they still went another 5 minutes. And then you had the Cody Rhodes, and whether you like the ending or not, that match delivered.
Yes.
It wasn't the result everybody wanted or everybody thought was going to happen. But those 3 matches saved night 2 from being a freaking disaster. Because night 1 had you sitting on cloud 9.
Yes.
And again, you called it. You said, oh, Brock and Omos. I was like, no way. That's a cluster of a match to try to start something off. And I think that was part of the problem with night 2. It started off with just a cluster.
It did.
Two big guys beating the crap out of each. I would have started with the Intercontinental Triple Threat.
Oh my God! Did you see that fight?
I would have started with that.
Awesome fight. Jesus,
Yes.
it delivered.
Instead, you started with this. You knew Brock and Omos are 2 bulls just running freaking into each other. It's not going to be nothing that's going to get the crowd up. You're going to get some oohs and oh shits and everything else. People aren't going to be on their feet like, oh, you had the triple threat match. And I'm sorry, there's 4 matches on that card that's because that triple threat helped out a lot too on that one. But I would have started with that to at least get the crowd up, because the whole thing was whatever you want to say about Austin Theory, him and John Cena, from the beginning, the crowd was up. They never went down. I thought they were going to go down during the women's tag team match. I was wrong. I thought they were going to go down during the men's showcase. I was wrong. They never went down during night 1.
But remember, when you told me and when you announced it that they were going to go with Cena and Austin as the starting fight, I said to myself, oh man, they're going to do the same thing on Sunday. So they need a name out there. And the easiest one to put out there is Brock Lesnar, because Brock Lesnar's big
made a mistake right there. Because from there, it was just, I don't think and again, I'm not saying the wrestling in the ring was bad, but it just never got the crowd up. They never got the crowd up. You got them up for the triple threat match. Then it went back down. Then you got them back up for a little bit during, it was just, the crowd was like this on night 2, where on night 1, it was like, and it never came down.
Yeah.
And it didn't come down until everybody's Apparently, they didn't open up the exits at the SoFi Stadium after night 1. So everybody was trapped in the goddamn building.
Yeah, I heard about that.
But I mean, other than that, everybody was happy on night 1 and everything else. And we're going to get to keep the chats coming. We're going to dive into them here in a minute. We're just going to get through our thoughts on some of the WrestleMania.
And we're reading it. I see somebody put Asuka's a sore loser. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Shout out to Gunther there from official DJ Mimo. And then so for me, again, best moment, however it was Sammy and them finally, that story. I knew what was going to happen if they won the belts. I just knew that was going to be, that to me was the whole thing. And then also Rhea accomplishing and winning. And then the fact that Charlotte sat out on the ring, and if you watched her, they made sure on camera to get her a couple times. She's smiling. She's happy. She's clapping for Rhea. And then I sent out again, because I just saw it recently, where WWE posted where Andrade and Ric Flair were at the curtain waiting for Rhea Ripley to come back in and congratulate her as being the champion, and now Charlotte's taking more time off. She came back basically to do the honors for Rhea, and now she's going to take more time off.
Gotcha. Yeah, it makes sense.
Those are kind of, the best moment, best match. And there's really quite a few, depending on what your style of match was. I mean, there were quite a few,
I love the Gunther
nominees. Which one was yours?
The Gunther one, that triple threat, man, that was so good. And did you see? Remember, I told you, I was like, look, Sheamus and Drew McIntyre are gonna get together, they're gonna fight, and then they're gonna beat each other up, and then Gunther's gonna sneak in and win it. And that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah, he did the power bomb on top of Sheamus on Drew, and then power bomb Drew for the win. And Drew and Sheamus beat the crap out of each other. They all beat the crap out of each other. I mean, and then also, again, you had at the end, I don't know if you saw it or if you saw any of the things. It was kind of like an extra thing from WWE. You had Drew and Sheamus hugging after the match in front of the crowd, which is cool for them, man. I mean, damn. Whatever the attendance was, I know everybody's like, oh, there's not 81,000. The thing only holds 70,000, but it can be extended to 100. Whatever the hell. Dude, the place was freaking packed. Did you see Jalen Ramsey sends out from the suite, and all you can see is just people, man. And they did this one shot. Was it during, I think it may be Cody's entrance. They kind of zoomed around the whole stage. You just, dude, who cares if a little part of the upper deck isn't filled in, man? That place was packed. And then I agree with Bradster there. Seth Rollins, Logan Paul match. I thought that one delivered. I had to look up who KSI was. Not gonna lie.
What? You didn't know who KSI is?
I'm not into all these.
Oh, I got
and all
that.
I was hoping it was Jake Paul was in there, honestly, at the beginning. But then I was looking at the arms going, yeah, I don't know if that's Jake Paul.
I was watching it with my brother, and I told my brother, I was like, you see the Prime little mascot there? I was saying, hey, maybe there has to be somebody underneath there. Somebody is on there. I was thinking Jake Paul, but when he revealed himself and it was KSI, I was like, holy snap, it's KSI.
You know what's going to sound bad is when he first, I thought it was R-Truth.
Oh my God, Shawn.
No, but when they went in, I was like, oh, okay, no, that's not R-Truth. Then they're like, oh, KSI. I was like, because from the back, like when they took it from afar, I was like, is that R-Truth?
I'm gonna have to get you a little bit more into social media.
I'm not a big like. I like Logan Paul the wrestler. I don't even watch his whatever the hell that damn, what does he have? Impulsive TV or some crap.
I mean, I've seen some highlights here and there, but let me ask you, what was your favorite match?
Man, dude, you know what, man? I knew Seth and them were going to kill it. The tag team match, the men's showcase match, really surprised the crap out of me.
Yes.
Those guys delivered. The women's, I just thought there was an issue with just the chemistry wasn't there for that match. The women, they looked like they were trying to kill each other at times. And then the other thing I have a question about is this. You have a women's showcase match. Okay? And this is going to go back to Vince McMahon, and we'll go back into more in the creative side. You have a showcase match. Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler win it. Then the next night, you have a number one contenders for the tag team title, and they're not in it.
It doesn't make any sense.
And again, I don't know if Baszler only ended up with one shoe on somehow at the end of the match. I'm not sure what was going on there. I don't know if she was injured. Maybe there's an injury that hasn't been reported as of yet. I know Triple H said basically the only big injury coming out of it was Shane, and then of course Finn with the cut, but everybody else, he didn't say anything about anybody else being injured. But man, I don't have a best. I just thought there's probably 5 or 6 candidates, man. Going into it, I said Seth and Logan Paul would steal the show. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they were that much better than some of those other matches.
Nah, me neither.
There's quite a few of them that you could probably sit there and be like, all right, yep. I could say one, you could say one, and we go on. Official DJ Mimo says that Shane botch. It wasn't a botch. His knee blew out, or his quad blew out. It wasn't really a botch. It was standing behind a curtain for 2.5 hours and coming out and trying to do something that you haven't done in about 7 months, which, again,
but I would have thought that he would have like warmed up or something, like if he was gonna make a guest appearance. I know he's not a full-time wrestler, but especially for my age, I mean he's up there in age now, so I would at least would have warmed up and kind of like prepped, you know.
Yeah, but you can't really warm up for. I don't know how much you think Shane weighs.
I'm gonna throw 220.
Okay, so you're 220 pounds, jump leapfrogging and landing on a mat, and if you land wrong. And you just roll up. I mean, hell, look what happened to Vince McMahon.
Yeah, that's true.
He blew out both quads trying to roll into the ring. Kevin Nash or even Triple H stepping in the ring and his quad blew. It's just very odd. It seems like the quad injury is like the wrestling injury, whereas ACLs is like a football injury.
Did you suffer a quad injury before?
Was it?
Have you suffered a quad injury before when you're wrestling?
No. But I remember watching Triple H's it hit and you could see it roll up. If you ever watch that, it's a Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit, I think, against Triple H and Stone Cold. And he plants and you can watch it roll up his leg. It looks like you can see his leg, the skin kind of like, like it's tight because of the muscle. And then once the muscle goes, it just kind of caves in. You can see it kind of roll up. And then this dumbass keeps going and then puts himself in a wall of Jericho on the table. And his freaking quad is ripped off the bone.
Wow.
And it's like, and then he comes back, and then like 2 years later, the same thing happens. And then Kevin Nash is walking to do a tag out, steps, and his quad goes out.
But you know what? Bradster has a good point. He mentioned Pat McAfee.
Mm-hmm.
And Pat McAfee is not training. Pat McAfee is up
Pat
there in
McAfee
age
has a wrestling ring in his studio.
True, but do you really think he's practicing wrestling?
Oh yeah, he is.
I don't think so.
He's ready to go all the time.
He's too busy talking to Aaron Rodgers on his podcast.
Oh no, that's only when he's out of the dark, man. That's only when he's out of the dark. No, but I mean, he always talks about the ring down in the where the basketball area. I think they changed studios now, so it may not be. I don't know, where it's at. But that dude's always. Those guys love wrestling. They're probably in there bouncing around with them. I'm sure they got some little independent guy that's trying to make a name for himself, and they're being the punching bag. Sure. I'll go up there and train with Pat McAfee. I'll let him do some flips on me.
Me too. I'll go up there.
Oh, I don't mind that at all, man. Surprise moment for you.
Bad Bunny getting involved. I did not think Bad Bunny was going to get involved, but it makes sense now because you saw the twist that they did on Monday night. So I'm seeing where they're going with Bad Bunny and Ray versus Damian Priest and Dominic Cruz.
Well, they paid $1.5 million to get Backlash pay-per-view over in Puerto Rico, so you got to put some flair on that.
We should fly out to Puerto Rico, you and me, and we could go check it out.
I'll go to San Juan. Hello.
We'll go live. We'll be like,
when I was in the military, I was over there every other month doing dive ops at the station over there, Roosevelt Roads, doing dive ops. That was the funnest thing ever.
I've been to Puerto Rico. I remember I told you I DJ, so I DJed at Royal Caribbean, and one of the stops was at Puerto Rico, so I was able to go ahead and also check out Puerto Rico for a minute while I was DJing at the cruise ship. So
that's good stuff right there, man. But also, by the way, Josh says, Shawn, I thought it was R-Truth as well. I wasn't the only one.
I saw that. I saw that comment. I was like, come on, guys. All right. On the chat. Everybody who's on the chat, tell us if you thought that was R-Truth or if you know who KSI is. And let us know. We'll keep an eye out.
Yeah, we'll see what they got there. Someone was like Dominic and Ray match. It was a good match. It was. But I thought they would have a good match, man. I thought they would have a decent match, those two. Dominic, look, for everything everybody talks about him, when he gets in the ring, I'm not gonna say he's elite echelon, Dom, but he gets in there and he can go, he can hold his own for what he's done. And and you looked at it and they did the thing where he got his ass whooped and he got hit with the chancleta, and he did all the stuff that you needed to do for that match. And then he was about to win, and the thing. And look at that. I'm happy. There's a couple comments coming in. I had no clue who that guy was. Yes.
But you say you saw what he's in his prime.
He's in the prime. Yeah, the guy is in the prime. Yeah.
I think Dominic Mysterio did a great job. His father is the reason why he's gotten better. You could tell that this storyline has made him a lot entertaining. He was nowhere to be found when. Well,
he had no. The problem was, I think everybody's, Rey Mysterio. Dominic is no Rey Mysterio. He's not going to be able to fly like Rey Mysterio. Nobody's going to be able to fly like Rey Mysterio, man. And I think the best thing that he's done is Dom has created his own persona. And whether you want to say it's going more toward, the Eddie Guerrero, how they kind of, the look, they've blended that look in there. I think it's at least helped him become something other than Rey Mysterio's son. Even if he's Dom the Convict or whatever the hell they're Dom the Con, whatever the hell they're calling him, at least it's not Ray's son Dom. Because that's what he was before.
I was as you just said, I'm impressed with Ray's like ability. Like, did you see his 619? Ray still knocks it off the park, but then when you see Dom do it, he's like botching it every time, and I'm like,
Because
wow,
he's
it's
slow. He's
crazy.
coming up. Whereas, but again, I think, look, Ray, he's built for his size, but he's still only like 150 pounds.
Yeah.
160 pounds. And Dom is long, so I'm not sure how much he weighs. He's probably about 170, 180, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
But and then they're saying I love the entrances, man. I love the fact that they did. I thought about it after I talked about it, because again, there was a lot of reports that Dom was going to come out to the Eddie thing, and then I thought about it. I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense, because then you're going to have them booing Dom and booing Eddie's entrance. You know what I'm saying? And then when they did it, Dom came out as the convict, and then the Ray came out with G Thing first, and Snoop coming out. And then when they went to the curtain, it kicked into Eddie's music. And then when Ray went to go to the ring, it kicked into his music. I think it was very smart. And I was kind of happy, because at first I was like, because you could have had Ray come out with the way his hair is now. He could have had on, some kind of shirt cut. It could have been like one of those Eddie, but then you're going to have people booing the legacy, the entrance of Eddie Guerrero. It's not going to happen. So you needed Dom to have that. And the fact that Dom came out wearing, by the way, the Halloween Havoc mask.
Yes.
Eddie Guerrero beat Rey Mysterio and pulled off his head was enough for me to be like, okay, this is good stuff right here.
Okay, now I will say this. The one entrance that I did not like, well, there was two of them, was that Logan Paul, Seth freaking Rollins entrance. They both, okay, so you got Logan Paul like hang gliding, going down, and he only hang glides like half of the way. If they're gonna hang glide him, like, or zip line him, just get him all the way to the ring. Like, I was like, what is this? And he's like talking while he's like sliding down. I was like, what is this? I thought that was, I didn't like that. And then the Seth freaking Rollins one, who that guy was, I think there was a part, a mistake. I mean, I might be mistaken, but remember when the guy was going like this? And I think he wanted the crowd to go along and sing along, and the crowd didn't. So they had to throw in the music immediately to go along. That's what I got.
They had the music playing under the crowd. So if the crowd wasn't going, you could still hear the or whatever,
But that's why I think he was trying to get the crowd to do it, and you would assume 80,000 people would go ahead and do it and sing along, and they didn't. So that's when they threw the song in there just for like to save themselves. And I felt like it was a little bit off, and that's why I was like, man,
well, you gotta let people know that they're in on the freaking. I mean, you got some guy on the stage. It's not like everybody has perfect vision to the guy, and some of the boards were out at certain times. So it's one of those things to where, like, if you're going to do that, you should have a fallback. And they did have a fallback, but they should have started with the fallback playing. Then if you hear the crowd drowning it out, then you can lower it.
Maybe they could have done something. Maybe they could have done something on the screen and like kind of guided them.
Maybe it's just, but yeah. I mean, look, Logan Paul was going to get something. They're not going to have Logan Paul just walk out. And if you look at it, they tried to compare it to what Shawn Michaels did that one when he took on Bret, and it was nothing similar, because Shawn's actually came into the crowd and then he dropped down and then walked over and did there, whereas his went to the stage, which I think was more of I'm trying to think now, because you know what, Shawn's and Bret's though was in a stadium, a closed stadium. Theirs was in the open, so you probably had the canopy over the ring, so they probably couldn't get too close to the ring. So maybe that's why they went there. But my problem with Logan Paul is he just doesn't know when to shut up, man. It's like, dude,
right?
When you're coming, hey people, hey LA, it's me. No shit, we see you up there flying in, buddy. We see you. Trust me, you're the only guy up there. We know you're up there.
He didn't help his cause.
Like when Seth was coming to the ring that one time, the fans were singing. He's like, "Oh, go ahead and keep singing. We don't need, dude. Just let it rest. Let it sit. Let the people, have their comeuppance here." That's what Seth's whole entrance is to give the audience a chance to be a part of the show, and you're drowning it out.
I'm just glad they didn't copy the Shawn Michaels one, because if I was Shawn Michaels, I would have been pissed. Like, that's a memorable entrance by Shawn Michaels. And the least person I would want to copy that entrance would be Logan Paul.
But you have to remember who trained Logan Paul.
Who trained Logan Paul?
Shawn Michaels.
But still.
Shawn Michaels and some of the other guys in NXT, Drew Gulak, and some of those other guys were the ones. That's why he was, throwing super kicks and all that stuff, because he worked with them at NXT.
He must be training a lot of AEW fighters too, because that's all I see. AEW as well.
Come on, man. There's 77 super kicks a show. Come on, and not one of them puts anybody down. I can't believe it. But anyway, we'll talk about AEW in a little bit. Surprise moment. Did you do your surprise moment, or we jump off?
Yeah, I said the Bad Bunny. I thought Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny's right.
I wasn't expecting Bad Bunny to get. I remember I told you I thought they were gonna. I mean, not with Finn Balor was out there. Yeah, Finn Balor and Damian Priest were involved. But I thought I didn't think anybody was gonna get him. I thought LWO was gonna get involved. Yeah. But they
came out and they beat off. They actually ran Drew and them. Our Drew, Jesus, Damian and Finn.
Yeah.
Away, and then that's when the chain came into play, and Bad Bunny came into play there. For me, there was two. One was the one you talked about earlier. I thought, and again, this was before, again, not thinking about anything else. I thought Asuka should have went over on Bianca.
Yeah.
That was a surprise for me. And then also, of course, the surprise for everybody. If you read anything on Twitter, you know what else the other thing was the fact that Cody lost. It was like that. To me, I felt like there was the storybook ending. You're going to send everybody home happy from WrestleMania, and it just wasn't there. It wasn't. It just was like, oh shit! It really wasn't. Oh shit! Like when it happened, I was like, okay, he's going to kick out again. 1, 2, 3. Oh, but that's it.
Can I ask you something? Like when you saw Cody lose, right? After you kind of let it sit in, don't you think you kind of went like it makes sense why he lost?
I mean. Yes and no.
Okay.
By yes, after thinking about it, you can't take every belt off the bloodline. And as you said, I think you actually sent up, maybe they shouldn't have had Sammy and KO win. If Sammy and KO lose, then Cody probably wins. Thinking back, looking at how the weekend, again, this is playing results focused, by the way. Once KO and them won, and then also when I started hearing rumors of a sale, and I was like, that's never good. That's usually they don't change titles to, you're not changing the face of your franchise and having a sale in the same day.
Well, this is what I got once I saw Cody lose. Remember that big hype of The Undertaker being undefeated in WrestleMania?
Mm-hmm.
Remember the whole, Goldberg back in the day in WCW? Hey, he's undefeated. When is he going to lose? I think they're doing the same thing with Roman Reigns. And I think Paul Heyman actually mentioned it in an interview. He was saying, you got to keep the people guessing. And people are going to tune in. When is Roman Reigns going to lose? When is he going to go ahead and lose that belt? And if you keep selling that for a while, how long has it been going for? And they're still doing it. Now, I think
the problem goes is, don't you run out of challengers?
True. But us, the hardcore ones, we stayed and watched that press conference, and I thought Roman Reigns delivered in that press conference. He was on point, and when he was talking and saying what he said, that's when he sold me, and I was like, man, you know what? The guy deserves to win. Like, nobody, come on, has Cody gotten to his level? If we put everything in perspective, I mean, I know the sales are doing really good for house shows, and I know his merchandise is selling really well, but is he better than Roman Reigns? Can we literally say that Cody, in the little bit time that he's been in WWE, is he bigger than Roman Reigns? I don't think so.
And I love since Cody. We're talking, because the next thing that I want to talk about was, and we'll dive into this, because I'll leave it at this. This is what I'll say. I didn't have a problem with them losing. I did have a problem a little bit with what they did last night.
Really?
Yes, because I felt that, okay, you have Brock take him out. But if Brock would have F5'd him once and left him laying for the I almost said the Shield, for the bloodline to beat him down, then it stays in that angle. Now you've taken Cody out of the bloodline angle to probably feud with Brock Lesnar.
Yes.
So now it becomes Cody against Brock.
But let me ask you something. Do you think, did you want to see Cody and Roman keep going, or are you okay with Cody and Brock now going at it?
With the way the match finished, I would have been okay with Cody and Roman one more time. Maybe not necessarily, it has to be right at this pay-per-view. Maybe they do it at the next, not Backlash, but at the next one after that. This one, it could have been a 6-man, as we've discussed before. You could have had Cody team up with Sammy and KO against Usos and Solo, because then you don't have to have Roman technically, or you throw Roman in there and Solo's on the outside again. I just thought that with the way they did this, is they kind of taken Cody out of the angle right now.
I agree with you when it comes to that angle of Cody versus Roman Reigns. I was surprised when Brock Lesnar did his move on Cody. I was like, oh my God, no way.
The way he hugged him at the beginning, I was like, this is set up to be a
See, but I didn't look at it that way.
I didn't know it was gonna be a turn before the match even started. I thought it was going to be, Cody, and then Brock hits him with an F5, leaves him laying. Roman crawls over, covers him, and then Roman beats him 2 nights in a row. I didn't know it was going to be a 15-minute beatdown.
That I didn't like. I didn't like the fact that he kept doing the F5s on him, and then all of a sudden he just kept beating him. I think that went a little bit overboard. And I guess they were trying to sell it because, remember, whenever Cody had that feud with Seth Rollins, we would kind of run the same way, where Seth would keep beating him down as well. So it was
like the Ricky Steamboat, Ricky Morton type baby face, where you're always feeling bad for him. I'm going to play some audio real quick. This is Bubba Ray from Busted Open Radio on Sirius XM. This is kind of what he said. And this is, I'm playing this now because this is where what I just said, he's kind of changed me a little bit on it. But the problem I do still have, as I said, is I feel like they've removed Cody from the angle now. I don't know how you get him back into the angle, but here's what Bubba Ray had to say on Busted Open Radio, Sirius XM. It was also David LaGreca and Mark Henry was there, but this is what Bubba Ray had to say.
Big story here is hard times. Cody is now going to have to face his version of hard times. Cody is going to have to overcome all of these obstacles thrown in front of him. When Heyman said last night to Cody, you don't get a shot at Backlash, you don't get a shot at SummerSlam, you don't get a shot at Survivor Series, you don't get a shot at the Royal Rumble, you don't get a shot in Saudi, blah, blah, blah. What's the only pay-per-view he said you don't get a shot at?
He did not say WrestleMania.
So in not saying WrestleMania, I'm wondering, are they going to Cody, Roman 2 at WrestleMania? Now, at WrestleMania 40 in Philly. Now, first instinct tells me that's ambitious. Another year before we get the payoff. Wow. But it did take Roman 4 shots to beat Brock. And when it finally happened, look at what happened to Roman, propelled to the next stratosphere. There's no reason why they can't do it with Cody.
So that's what Bubba had to say about that on Busted Open Radio. And it made me think, I was like, you know what? I never thought about that. Putting it all together and being like, okay, it took Roman 4 times to beat Brock. And it's Cody's, the hard times or him fighting up to get there. Again, the only issue that I have is Brock fought Roman the 4 times. Cody's going to fight Brock now? And then what's next? Drew? Then what? Lashley? Sheamus? I mean, is he going to have to go through every name in the locker room before he gets back to Roman? And how does he work back to Roman? I guess that's where, to me, they've taken him totally out of the title picture.
But let me ask you this. How long did Cody sign a contract with WWE? I don't. How long?
3 years.
3 years. So literally,
Debuted at last WrestleMania. This was 1 year, but again, WWE has the right to add on the injury time, which I think was 5-6 months. So you might be able to add another 5 to 6 months on.
okay. So now, if Cody,
So you've got 2 years left technically on his deal.
if Cody would have won that WWE Championship, the Universal Championship on Sunday, where does he go there? Like, he's reached his pinnacle. That's why
I said the same thing before too, because I was like, who's his next opponent?
But
To me, if he would have won, the next opponent could have been Solo, but he beat Solo the Monday before.
they did a great job on selling us because we all agreed that Cody was going to win.
Yeah.
So that was awesome by them. As far as like his road back to,
I think it goes back to where a lot of wrestling fans, and again, this is where we get into a lot of trouble as wrestling fans too, is we get mad at AEW. We get mad at WWE going, oh, you guys are terrible bookers because you didn't book what we wanted. It was like going back to Brock Lesnar a while ago. He had that card at MSG and he was booked on it. And he's supposed to have an opponent. Everybody's like, oh, the opponent's going to be this person and this person and this person. And WWE sent Austin Theory. And then everybody's like, oh, WWE, you sold us a bill of goods. No, we said there was a mystery opponent. We never said who the mystery opponent was. You guys threw everybody's name out there for who it was going to be. You know, just like the same thing with AEW. It's like, oh, there's going to be a mystery opponent. Like even last night when they said mystery opponent for Cody, I know they blew it in the first segment there, but it was like, oh man, could this be? I saw Jay White's name get mentioned. I saw, Cardona. I even mentioned it because I saw that mentioned as well. And then Heyman says it's got to be somebody who competed at WrestleMania last night. And I was like, and then he goes, and it's also somebody who will never get another title shot at Rome. And then, and then it was like, who the hell's this? And then it was Brock.
But did you notice? Let me ask you this. Do you think that was a Vince call? Because if it would have been a Triple H call, I think maybe you were right. Maybe somebody else besides Brock would have showed up.
I mean, I would say yes, because Brock is Vince's boy from day one. And that's why I said WrestleMania night 2, to me, night 1 was Triple H, night 2 was Vince McMahon.
Perfectly analyzed. You're correct. I agree with you.
That's the way I thought. And then I saw Raw and I'm like, oh, this feels like the 3 hours I used to freaking want to stab my eyeballs out.
I'm telling you, we're gonna find out in SmackDown.
Do you realize they did the first hour was commercial free? You know how much time they wrestled in that hour?
What, like 10 minutes?
1 minute and 42 seconds. Omos against Elias was the only wrestling in the first hour.
Wow. I did see that they weren't wrestling as much and that it was more of like just them talking.
And that's not an issue. I'm not good, but I'm saying, but it's like you're coming off of the, they set it up good by having, I thought Triple H came out and kind of did his heelish stuff where he introduces Roman, he hugs Roman, shakes Heyman, hug Heyman, and then same with Solo, and then he goes off and they come to the ring. Thought that was good. They're cutting their interview and then Cody cuts them off. Thought that was good as well. Again, I thought the execution was there until the match happened. It's like why? And then at the end of Raw, what is the last thing you see?
Wasn't it Cody getting like carted off or something like that?
No, it was Lesnar with the big middle fingers. To me, it felt like Vince said, "Hey, go out there and shoot the bird to all the fans. Tell them I got him."
Give him all the bird. No, but I did see.
He goes back into the back, and then he comes out ripping his gloves off so he could shoot double birds. What
did that remind you of?
Has
like
Brock and Cody built up that much hatred for each other?
Yeah, and then let me ask you this. Do you see Cody beating Brock Lesnar? I mean, when I saw Brock Lesnar beating him up so badly, it was kind of already hard for me to believe that Cody is going to be able to beat him.
Remember, though,
eventually.
They did Eddie Guerrero over Brock Lesnar.
They did. No, but I'm saying like the way they're selling it, like what you said of, hey, why is he like destroying him over and over again? Like, come on, man. You the moment you start doing that, you're kind of leading us to believe that Brock Lesnar is gonna destroy Cody, and then later down the road you see Cody beat him. Like, I would have been fine with just one F5, call it a
You know
day.
what'll happen is it's going to be somebody coming in out to take care of Lesnar to set up Lesnar's next feud, and then Cody will get the win, cheap win, pinning him but not really beating him. He'll take a beating, and then somebody will distract Brock, and then turn around and he'll hit him with the the crossroads or something, and then get the pin or something. It's the same thing, just like what they did with Eddie. Remember, it was the belt on him, and he did the frog splash, and then Eddie throws the belt out, and that's what helped him win. So I think you could see something, in that going again. But it's just like, okay, so now when he beats Brock Lesnar, that's cross off. To me, that should have been his last opponent. That big of an obstacle. That you start at Brock. Where do you go from Brock? If this is the case of them building it up over the next year, because I don't know where you go from Brock. Because like I said, you go to Drew, Sheamus. I mean, maybe Bronson Reed by that time would be a bigger monster. Braun Strowman. Like, how many monsters are you going to have to fight before you get? And then what sense does it make in the whole bloodline angle? What is? I mean, I guess you can try to throw a thing of Paul Heyman and Brock, and Heyman called Brock and got him to come along with this, because other than that, it makes no damn sense to me.
I think I like the feud. I'm not gonna lie to you. I like the surprise. I just feel that, man, they probably took it a little bit overboard with him, like destroying him right off the back. I think he should have, like you said, just taken him out once with the F5 and call it a day. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't be surprised that they do what you're saying, because yes, they did do that with Eddie. But Eddie's character was like that, he lies, he cheats, he steals.
Yeah.
Cody's character is not like that. So I don't know if that would discredit his character a little bit if somebody would come in and help him out. That's just my opinion. He's the American badass, America, USA, this is our flag. I fight for the people. I wouldn't hope that they would kind of like help him out. I would assume because he's such a badass that he would just beat Brock Lesnar straight up and just bounce back. Nobody helped him with Seth Rollins. Nobody helped him. Well, I mean, Roman was, I know Zammy and KO came in to help him, but still, I don't see
the Usos off more than
So but I don't see like Cody needing that help right off the back. I mean, I could understand maybe down the long run, but down the road, but I don't know. I just feel like he should, if he's gonna be Brock Lesnar, I hope he beats him, one-on-one without anybody else helping him out. I don't think they need to go that same route like they did with Eddie, because Eddie was different. Eddie's character, in my opinion, was different.
Yeah. No, I agree, but maybe this is the part of them where Cody's character starts to change a little bit.
Yeah,
take on that more, heelish. I'm going to do whatever I got to do to get back, because now maybe he gets desperate because now he didn't succeed and get that title for his dad.
Would you like that from Cody?
I mean, over time, gradually. I mean, I don't want it to be like next Raw, he's out here, tying up Brock Lesnar with handcuffs and beating him or something.
Because he never did that in AEW.
I think over time, I think I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more of an edge to him. Because a little bit more edgier, and things like that.
Remember when he was in AEW? Mm-hmm. Even he had a hissy fit coming out the other side. You know how if you came from like the heel side and then the heroic side, he was having a hissy fit trying to come, that they were telling him just come out the heel side for just a minute, just to entertain it, and he didn't even do it. So I don't know.
More old school, like as far again, you got to remember, man, his dad, and that was the other thing that was funny, because that finish that they had in his match, in the that would have been a Dusty finish.
Yeah.
You know how many times Dusty lost to Ric Flair and Dusty was the booker?
But that goes to show you how wrestling right now is so like over the top. Like, remember what I've seen shows when we spoke about this and we said, hey, a body slam, a leg drop would be a finishing move. You don't see that at all now.
No, you don't see that anymore, man. Official DJ Mimo says, I learned something interesting today. Cody's mom is Cuban. Yeah, I think she's half Cuban or something.
Yeah, she is.
Let's see here. Else we got Bradford said, too bad Omega and the Bucks can't help Cody out this time. Nate G says Cody's story will be like Rocky, have him battle for a year and then to come back and win the title in Philly. And then Nate G also said Brock and Cody has to be for Backlash headliner. They want Roman to get to 1,000 days as champ. I mean, but also the other thing goes to this. Can you keep Cody doing this for 365 days?
I think
the people interested in him for 365 days doing, every Raw he's getting, beat downs and then he battles back. Does it get old?
Well, remember in AEW, remember when he held the TNT championship belt, he was defending it every Wednesday Dynamite and it got old.
Yeah.
It got old.
Fans were booing him by the end when he was leaving.
So if they're gonna go,
he announced that he was leaving, but then once he said he was leaving, it got worse. But
if they're gonna go that route, they better come with some more creativeness. I know AEW is less creative than WWE, but still, they better figure something out. Because you're right, I'm gonna get bored just seeing the same. Hopefully, they don't do the same thing every single time. Hey, Cody gets beat up, and then he tapes his ribs. His hand was taped up and all that stuff, and then. Oh, miraculously, he came back and he won. Like, I could get along with it for a while, but after a minute, you're going to probably say, hey, it's a little bit tiring. Let's get something going on here.
Big Nick, South Florida Accountability, said Lita is really bad. And then somebody else, Nate G, said EO had to carry her when they were in there. I don't necessarily know that it's bad as much as just your body's just... You have to... This is what I said about that match. They were all going to come in and do their signature moves. Trish Stratus is a Stratus faction, which is like a kick type thing. Problem with Lita is hers is the moonsault. Like, and look, as you get older, you're not as versatile. She hit it, and it's never been the prettiest thing either. Lita's moonsaults, if you see it, like Io Sky now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I almost went back to what she was before. So she hits it, and she goes up and over. Lita goes like a dart. She just kind of goes every time she does. I think she's gonna land on her head.
But did you see Lita? She had like a black eye on Monday Night Raw. Did you see that?
Yeah. No. They threw some punches. They were hitting each other.
I don't want to go back to WrestleMania, but I will say that match was a little bit of a letdown. And we kind of knew that. We remember we told you, I was like, that's a filler match. And
the whole thing really was like, it's you have to. You have to know what you're getting with this with the older wrestlers. I mean, look, they're not doing this every day. And yeah, you can bring them in for a Raw and have them hit a move and this and that, but when you wrestle and you have to remember a 30-minute match or a 15-minute match, and you have to remember everything going on and stuff like that. You get lost, man. Like, I honestly don't understand why they put the tag belts on them, and we'll see if they don't take them off of them.
And did you see they put Liv and Raquel?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why would you do that for next Monday night? That should be like a pay-per-view type of fight, in my opinion. I would love to see that in a pay-per-view than in a regular Monday Night Raw, but whatever. It is what it is.
It's Vince McMahon, baby. Vince Mac, baby.
When I saw that, I was like, what?
You're going to like it? Why? Because I know more than you, and I'm going to tell you what you want to watch.
When I saw, okay, they made the mistake not putting Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey. Okay, but now they put Liv and Raquel, and I was like, oh, this is great. I remember I told you I like Liv and Raquel, and then all of a sudden it says, oh, next Monday night they're gonna face each other. I'm like, what? You should have built on it. It was such a two great tag team girls were gonna go at it, and you're gonna get it on a Monday night. Don't be like an AEW.
No, don't you be talking about you're going to get that on a Monday night.
Don't be coming to AEW. See where I'm going with that? I said that. Don't be AEW.
We're going to AEW next. I'm going to go down this card, and you're going to tell me which match isn't a pay-per-view match, okay? It's AEW Dynamite stuff, and I get it. They do pay-per-views differently. Also, so far, good news coming out of the Endeavor deal is that they're not changing the PLE, the Premium Live Event pay-per-view, the way it goes. They're not looking to do that unless they get offered a huge huge amount of money.
Wait. So
for right now, it's going to
you-
stay on Peacock for the foreseeable future. It's going to stay as is. That is a good thing, because I was worried that they were going to do like what they do with the ESPN Plus with the UFC, and then you're trying to. I'm not paying money for a pay-per-view anymore.
You know, I was trying to look that up, and I'm so happy you found it.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, man. I was gonna be like, not only keeps the hardcore wrestling fans watching, but it also gives the opportunity to the newcomers. You know, everybody. I mean, if you're not a WWE wrestler fan, and you're not an AEW or just an overall wrestling fan in general, I don't mind paying $5-10 to watch it, you know, here and there. You come into our stream and you see us talking and we get you into this, and you're like, man, Shawn and Frankie are literally selling this to us, and we don't have to sell you anything. We're just very passionate. You don't mind going ahead and paying $5-10 just to watch it.
Your subscription, you get the pay-per-view for, like with me, I get Peacock for free with Xfinity. Yeah, I mean, I got to watch a couple commercials here and there, but during the WWE stuff, I don't have to watch any commercials.
I'm cheap.
The only thing apparently I don't
$5
get are the good packages. I pay the Charlotte Flair package, and they're like, premium live subscribers, you get it now. Here's Charlotte Flair. Everybody else, and I get The Office. So I was like, all right, I'll watch a little bit of Office commercials.
I did this. I pay the $5 one. I'm not paying. I don't mind the commercials. So I was like, whatever.
Listen, it came up on my. I was like, hey, Peacock, yeah, they're wrestling, good deal. I'll take it. So there's some of our thoughts on the WrestleMania and Vince McMahon and everything else. We're gonna dive into Frankie's favorite now.
Yes,
a little.
Now look, I got Cody right here.
Yeah, the elitist there, the elitist that is Frankie Fresco. All Elite Wrestling Dynamite tomorrow night. They are in Long Island, New York, the home of the heavyweight champion MJF. They're going to have an MJF Day promo. I'm going to go through real quick what they're going to have tomorrow. Speaking of pay-per-view, you've got the Women's Championship, Jamie Hayter versus Riho. You've got Sammy Guevara versus Commander. You got the FTW champion Hook versus Ethan Page. Tony Khan with another important announcement, because after every WWE pay-per-view, there's an important announcement. Have you noticed that, though? After every WWE pay-per-view, the next Dynamite, there's an important announcement from Tony Khan.
I love it.
The Acclaim, they have to decide to join the Jericho Appreciation Society. Juice Robinson will take on Ricky Starks. And the Guns will take on FTR, the titles versus FTR leaving AEW, and then also the Trios title on the line. House of Black taking on Best Friends, and of course that includes Orange Cassidy. So, which one of those pay-per-view matches you want to go over?
The Tony Khan announcement. What? I love it. I love it.
What do you think it's going to be this time?
To be honest with you, everybody wants it to be CM Punk coming back. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think he's gonna again bring out the Owen Hart tournament once again, and I think he's gonna probably bring like a special wrestler to come in there and compete in the Owen Hart. He'll throw that, you know, those mysterious ones. Like he'll have like, oh, this person against this random wrestler. That's what I think they're gonna do. I don't think I would not be surprised. I would be very surprised if it was something talking about CM Punk. I don't think he would bring CM Punk if it was a big announcement like that. So, but I think it's the Owen Hart tournament. What do you think it is?
Well, Josh just took mine. I think it's going to be talk about Jay White, but it could coincide with what you were saying too. If it's a tournament and they're bringing in, you know, Jay White will be the first entrant into, you know, as you said, the Owen Hart. I mean, you know, depending on how they do that, they could work that in. I think it's going to be, you know, one of the signings, or even, you know, when they did the Super Card of Honor, Trinity Fatu, who is the old Naomi, was backstage. Does she come? You know, again, I don't know, man, because there's some times where Tony Khan will just be like, hey, on Ring of Honor next week, we're going to give you a free access. And that's an important announcement. Tony Khan, there's no telling what the hell his important announcement's going to be, but hopefully it's more toward the signing of Jay White. Out of those matches there, your match, I know which match. There's two that I think could steal the night, but which ones are you looking at?
I like Sammy versus Commander. Oh
That's what
man,
yep.
that's gonna be good because if you guys gotta see that fight. Try to Google it. Try to see if it's available. Vikingo versus Commander on Ring of Honor on Friday. What a match! Like that is a match that I could watch over and over. Like guys, I don't know how much I gotta tell you guys. Vikingo is a great wrestler, and Commander, I've never heard of Commander before, and I saw him fight him. I was like, wow, I really like this guy. I know he's in like Lucha Libre.
Yeah, Triple
Um,
A.
so then I was like, okay, and I know that they're all fighting with like they don't have contracts. They're just giving them like a 1 day contract or something like that to
Yeah,
fight
per
at
appearance. Yeah, per
yeah,
appearance.
per parents.
What's
So then
funny is Vikingo was supposed to be in before. He couldn't make it, so Commander came in to cover for him because AAA wouldn't let him, and then Vikingo came in the last time to take on Kenny Omega.
look, guys, Vikingo is a superstar in the making. I hope AEW signs him, and I hope they utilize him correctly, and built him up. The guy is only 25 years old. I mean, he has so much potential. I love that guy. I think the other match that I kind of will side with would be the House of Black. I'm a big fan of the House of Black.
Yeah.
And then Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends. I love those guys. You got to give the people what they want, you know. So, I think the House of Black will win that, but still, it's a good fight. I think they'll go ahead and take that W tomorrow, but it should be a good fight. I like Malachi Black a lot.
Yeah, and I'm also looking toward Juice Robinson and Ricky Starks. I'm interested to see how that one goes because that's another one where they said maybe Jay White will appear. Ricky Starks take care of Juice Robinson, and then Jay White shows up taking out maybe Ricky Starks or something like that, just to get him a feud to come in through. But then now that I think about it, is Adam Cole has returned. Jay White's the one that gave him the concussion. Can they work that into something a little bit more? If, again, we'll see what happens. And then the other one I watched, I don't know if anybody else watched it, but if you didn't, if you have Fight TV, you can check it out. They did a live Dax podcast live, and they had the whole Pinnacle on there except for MJF because apparently nobody likes MJF.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It was Wardlow, it was Sean Spears, Dax, and Cash Wheeler, and they were like Pinnacle, and then Sean Spears is like DOA. Only one guy was surviving that one, and
Wow.
kind of figured out who that guy was. But FTR, look, honestly, I'm wondering because before I thought, okay, this is FTR leaving, going back to Triple H, and going back to WWE. I'm wondering right now if the announcement that Tony Khan is going to be is like FTR has decided to stay with AEW and not go back to WWE because they see the writing on the wall. But, again, I don't know if they were leaving in the first place, but it looked like they were more on the way out. And when I watched, and again, when you see it in wrestling, it's believe half of what you see and nothing of what you hear. But on the podcast, when they're doing the live podcast, they were like saying their goodbyes almost to everybody, like to AEW. It felt like it was the goodbyes, like, I don't know where it's going to lead to and things like that. So, again, maybe it's the swerve there. I didn't like the Guns winning the tag titles to begin with. I thought everything you've done to build up the AEW tag team belts and everything you've done, you just shit on it and gave it to the Guns because for what? What do they bring to the AEW titles?
I could understand them why they're giving it to the Guns because they're young, they're hungry, they're annoying. A lot of people don't like them. The Acclaim was like messing with them the whole time. I could understand why they gave it to the Guns.
Oh my God, you're an AEW apologist. Jesus.
But
I can understand why they gave it to the Guns.
But I don't know why they've lasted this long with the tag team titles. And AEW, and AEW is the type of wrestling organization that, like, besides the heavyweight title, they usually don't like to leave the belt on the person for that long. So I would have assumed they would have already gotten rid of them and given it to somebody else. I hope FTR wins. Please, FTR win. I do not want to see FTR leave. And now that Vince might be back, I'm pretty sure FTR will win.
Yeah. And by the way, Nicholas, MJF is better than you, not better than me and Frankie. All right, them apples.
But okay, so let me ask you this, and you know me, I am a big AEW fan. You guys know it. You see the shirt. You see I've been to many of their shows. Why again an MJF day? They did this last week. This is the same. This is where I get frustrated with AEW. I'm like, man,
Khan is running out of ideas. He had 2 years worked out. He was like, maybe we don't go past 2 years. I got it worked out.
Like what?
In 2 years, it's like, let's see.
Why are you doing the same thing as last week? That makes no sense. Like, it was so annoying that they
Problem
did
is
that.
they have none of this guy. They don't have one of these guys.
You got to build one, and they have a lot of good wrestlers there. Why can't they put MJF versus Claudio's
the Ring of Honor champion.
Champion versus champion.
Really?
Did you see that fight between him and Eddie Kingston? Did you see Claudio how he was talking?
They should have gave the belt to Eddie Kingston. If Claudio's going to be on both shows, he doesn't need to be the Ring of Honor champion
unless you put him against MJF. You got to build, and then MJF
title versus title. Then you make the Ring of Honor title mean nothing.
It's not going to mean nothing because he lost to the AEW champ. It's just you're losing champ versus champ. So
you're saying AEW is better than Ring of Honor?
I'm not saying that AEW is better than Ring of Honor. I'm saying that
than the other title.
I'm saying that the AEW champion right now is better than the ROH champion right now. But that doesn't mean it's going to discredit the ROH title.
Be on the same damn show.
They're combining the wrestlers. One day you see him in AEW, the other day you see him in ROH.
He had the opportunity. They took the belt off Wheeler Yuta.
Good.
Right? They took the pure championship off of Wheeler Yuta. Smart. They should have put Eddie Kingston over on Claudio. And then you had Eddie Kingston there, and then you could just roll with it. And then you finally separated a little bit of the roster.
But did you see Eddie Kingston at the end of the fight? He started cursing and going all out and doing. Come on, man! What kind of champion are you that you have to go and start cursing at the crowd and cursing at everybody? What is that, man? You don't deserve to hold the title.
Grow up, Kingston. He's a wild card.
Grow up.
And John Moxley's out there cursing each other, popping his head with razor blades. AEW.
But we know we're gonna get that from Moxley. Eddie needs to.
You're no longer Frankie Fresco. You're just AEW.
No. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I
saw the life saying who's Claudio. Claudio Castagnoli is he's in the Blackpool Combat Club with Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, Brian Danielson, and he's also the Ring of Honor heavyweight champion. And apparently Frankie doesn't like Eddie Kingston because apparently he curses.
I like Eddie Kingston. Don't get me wrong. I like Eddie Kingston. I just feel that he went overboard by deciding to curse and all this stuff. I mean, if he wants to curse and he wants to take that angle, do it if you won, man. But you lost. Just take the L like a man and then move on. Eddie Kingston, I agree. And let's keep it real. That fight, did you see that? Eddie Kingston looks way overweight. I don't know what was wrong with him. He looks like he's gotten fatter. And a lot of the moves, did you see that? He was like struggling with them. I saw that. Don't look at me like that. You know it's true. He was struggling with some of those moves. I was like,
I don't pay for AEW or Ring of Honor. I don't pay. Look, if I'm not getting it with my subscription, I'll read about it on Twitter. I'll watch it on Twitter. I'm not, especially AEW stuff, because nothing they've done, the only thing they've ever done good that has turned out great has been the brawl out. And I saw that all over YouTube. I didn't have to pay for any of it.
No, they've had some good moments when CM Punk came, when Daniel Bryanson came.
Yeah, all free.
Yeah, you know what? Okay, when Chris Jericho dumped Orange Cassidy. Oh, no, Orange Cassidy dumped Chris Jericho on the orange juice.
Kept free.
That wasn't on pay-per-view?
Was it?
That was on pay-per-view.
No, that was the orange juice match in Orlando. During the
okay. So what about the stadium brawl? The stadium brawl was good back in the day when they were doing COVID times, when it was the whole the Jericho old team. What was their name?
They talked about that when it was the Pinnacle against Inner Circle. They talked about that in the Dax. There was a drunk guy that somehow got by security. And he was walking over, and MJF ran behind FTR and Wardlow. and they were stopping him, and they were like, "Hey, dude, stop, or we're gonna have to kick your ass." And then he finally ended up stopping before he got close enough to them. And they said that MJF walked up to him and it's like, "Dude, if they would have got over here, what would he have done?" And Cash looked at him and said, "Would have kicked his ass."
That's awesome. You know what? Hey, if it was me, if I was that drunk person walking towards them, I would have kept going to them and let them kick my ass. And I would have had my brother record it. That way I could trend on Twitter or on IG and be like, "Yes, look at him. Frankie's the one getting his ass kicked."
Well, remember, I don't know if you remember, but during the Hall of Fame ceremony, when Bret Hart got pushed down by a fan, Cash Wheeler's the one that clotheslined the fan.
Oh.
So, actually, I'm sorry, allegedly. I guess there's still stuff going on because they were talking about it, and he's like, no, allegedly I hit him. Allegedly.
Well, you saw that Seth is really good at getting beat down by the crowd, by the fans. He's been hit a couple times, so.
Yeah, he's pretty good at that stuff. He's pretty good. Let's see. Bratster says, I agree. They should have given Eddie Kingston the title. And Frankie, AEW. CM Punk is washed. Official DJ Mimo. All right, here's our topic of the day. We're going to go through real quick. And this is for everybody on the chat as well. We want you to jump in and be a part of this. The question of the day, AEW or WWE? Right now, from this day forward, which one is a better future if you were a talent? If you were a wrestler and you're going to sign, which company are you signing with right here today? With everything the way it is, you saw what Raw was last night. You saw what WrestleMania was coming off of WrestleMania. You know what you get with AEW. Which one do you see as a better future if you were a talent that you would want to go to, and throw in there why as well? I already see WWE all day coming through. Frankie, we'll start with you, AEW, man.
Okay, so if I'm coming, obviously I would be in the indie shows first. So I'll be like another Shawn. I would be going in there and working my way up, right? Everybody's gonna say WWE, and I'm gonna tell you why I wouldn't do WWE, because AEW is a company that is up and coming, and I'm the type of person who would love to grow with that company. WWE is already marked. I think if I've reached my way to WWE and then let's say I'm not happy or something like that, I have to kind of downgrade back down, you know? At least with AEW, I would have at least made my way up and tried to win over the crowd and make my character a lot stronger. People would know who I am. And if you know, guys, before NXT, almost every single wrestler from WWE was not a WWE grown wrestler. They came from indie shows and from other wrestling organizations. And Shawn knows this. That's true. A lot of their wrestlers were not grown by WWE. A lot of them came
from Ring of Honor.
Exactly. So they all had to start somewhere besides WWE. And then WWE picked them up. So I would love that. Like, I would work my way through AEW, learn the ropes, learn everything. And then once I'm done, I would get the big bucks and head over to WWE, because that is the place you want to be. I mean, who doesn't want to fight in WrestleMania? Let's keep it real. So.
All right, and then I see official DJ Mimo says WWE with Triple H, not Vince. Unfortunately, now we're talking about Vince, obviously, after watching Monday Night. You know, and here's the one thing. Look, if I'm built like Batista, if I'm built, you know, Randy Orton, if I'm built Cena, if I'm built Bobby Lashley, like, you know, like any of those guys, if I'm built, you know, I'm cut and I'm shredded and I'm ready to go, and I look like $1 million, I'm going to WWE. Why? Because you get the machine behind you, and they're going to push you to the moon, and they're going to push you and push you and push you. And if they can't push you anymore, they're going to cut you. And if you didn't make it, it's probably your fault.
Oh, man.
If I'm not, then I'm going to AEW. If I'm Adam Cole, if I'm, you know, one of those guys like that, I'm going to AEW. Why? Because then I'll have an opportunity, as you said, to do something more. Because you saw what happened with Adam Cole in WWE. He knew what was going to happen. Once you get up to the main roster, Vince gets a hold of you, You don't look like Batista. You don't look like Randy Orton. You don't look like Bobby Lashley. You don't look like Brock Lesnar. Sit your little ass down over there. I'll get to you when I want.
Look at Gargano, man.
Yeah. If you do not have the size, I'll never forget, man. When you walk into this was again when it was FCW, before NXT, FCW on Dale Mabry Boulevard in Tampa. Went there for 4 days tryout. And one of the guys that was there was EC3 before he became EC3, but he was the one that got the main deal. We went there, and your first day, the guys, they divide up, and they have these shadows, and you stand in them. You take pictures.
Wow.
And I'll tell you now, it looked like it was Batista. It looked like it was Randy Orton. There was guys, and they kind of see how you're looking, where you're filling into those areas. Again, this was FCW days, back in the days.
Well, that's why you got to give Rey Mysterio credit, too.
And then we got in the ring and we wrestled. We wrestled in front of Victoria. We wrestled in front of John Cena. Of course, Dusty Rhodes we cut promos in front of and all that stuff. Wrestled in front of Steve Kern. Steve Kern at the time was running FCW. And I have an 80s build. Anybody knows me or seen me, I wasn't as big, round in the waist as I was then. But I looked, in comparison, I was probably like, I think a lot of people said I looked like Scott Norton. I was just big and thick. I was like, I wasn't fat. I was just big and thick. I wasn't cut. I wasn't, I was just there.
Sean,
Yep.
Did you forget? We see the beginning of the video. We see you.
No, but even that wasn't like my biggest. I got bigger.
Oh,
than
okay.
that. I got even bigger. I was up to 280.
Oh, okay.
And when I went there for my tryout, and they told me, and they were like, if you're not in shape, it's called the fat guy quota. And right now that's filled. They hired one fat guy quota, and that was filled at the moment.
Wow.
That is what the WWE's under Vince McMahon. That he has a visual of what his champion looks like. And yes, he's changed over time. Bret Hart was a champion. Shawn Michaels was a champion. But when you look back at their champions, it's Hogan, it's Warrior, it's Undertaker, it's Yokozuna. It's, you go down now. Yeah, it's gotten to a small guy. But look, whenever they're in trouble or they feel like they're in trouble, who do they break glass in case of emergency?
Brock
Lesnar, Goldberg, the bigger guys.
I mean, for the love of God, Omos was fighting you last night.
There's a reason Roman has been the champion.
Yeah.
There's a reason Lashley was champion. There's a reason Drew was champion. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the guys. Those are Vince's guys. Those are the guys when you look that way. If you have that look and you go to WWE, you're probably going to be a chosen one, and you get that machine behind you, and they will push you. And they will push you. And if you don't make it, more than likely, it's probably you're just not cut out for the business, because they're going to model you. They're going to put everything behind you. Marketing. Hell, John Cena went to WWE, is called the prototype. Talked like a robot. They changed him around to where he was when he came out, ruthless aggression. And then he became Doctor of Thugonomics. And then he's turned into Mr. Make-A-Wish. That's what they do. And if you work your ass off, like what John Cena did, you get the payoff. The Rock got the payoff. Stone Cold, if he didn't get hurt, was getting the payoff. He's a guy that was told you're never going to make money in the business by Eric Bischoff. Nobody's going to care about black tights and boots. Okay.
I do agree with Bradster. I think if Wardlow was in WWE, I think they'll utilize him a lot better.
Yeah. No, I agree. Again, he fits that mold. He
Yeah.
fits that mold. When you look at the guys they let go, the guys that they've said, okay, how many big guys did they let go? Braun? That's really it when you look at the guys they've let go. Big guys.
Yeah.
When they clean the roster, how many they let Braun go because he was making so much money.
Unless they're a tag team, like the This guy, AJ Styles is those two guys, the big one that's on the AJ Styles group. I forgot his
the
name.
Good Brothers.
Yeah, the Good Brothers, the tall
Gallows.
one, the big
Gallows.
one. Him. I mean, but he's in a tag team, so it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah, and then when they
oh,
signed
but
this
this guy, the one from AEW, Mark, damn it, what's
Miro?
no, not Miro. Well, Miro's one, but no, not Mass. Well, they used Miro for a while. No, the other guy, the one that was that's fighting that's having like an altercation with Swerve right now. What's his name? Who used to be tag team partners with Swerve?
Yes. Keith Lee.
Keith Lee. There you go.
You want to know this thing about Keith Lee?
What happened with him?
Him and Gunther were told they need to lose weight.
Man, WWE is kind of like messed up.
Gunther went and lost weight. You see what happened with him, right? Gunther went and lost the weight, changed his look. He's now the Intercontinental title getting pushed.
Wow. WWE is kind of straightforward.
But that's what they are, though, dude. Because again, Vince thinks, and again, you can't argue with it either because it's proven to work. Damn company, think about it. He bought the company in 1982 for $1 million, sold it Monday for $9.3 billion.
They banked.
So the recipe that he does, whether you like it or not, works.
Does.
Because again, wrestling used to always be larger than life. You know, it wasn't the guys that you could go and have a beer with at the bar. You know, wrestling has changed for the better for the most part. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't like I could go to the bar and sit next to, you know, whatever. It was all these guys larger than life. Dusty Rhodes. I mean, yeah, was he a little fat guy and things like that? Yeah, but he was larger than life personality. They all had something that was larger than life. It wasn't the build, it was the personality.
I like Nate's analogy saying that he fits the mold of Bobby Heenan. So do I. So do I, Nate. So do I.
I'm more of let's see, what am I right now? I'm like Otis.
No, don't say that. Maybe the pickle juice.
You know, no, you're right. Otis is probably in better shape. I'm sorry, my fault.
Get out of here. So the last time we saw each other, that was at that Sunday Stunner. You're telling me you got him bigger than that day?
No, I've gone a little bit less. I'm in the Jacks. I go to the gym here in a little bit for my training. Let me get back down to my fighting weight. Going back down to my fighting weight, man.
That means you're gonna make a run for WWE. I love it.
No. Shush. Shush.
But no,
they kept going last night too. I don't know if you saw it in the background.
Yeah.
They're trying to cut Otis' hair, and what's his name was messing with him, Gable.
Yeah. Did you see the guy with the Miami Dolphins in WrestleMania with the jersey? That was so cool.
No, I didn't see that. I missed
that.
Yeah,
he had a Miami Dolphins jersey in the background on day one of WrestleMania, I think it was, and he was
Brad's
like,
mad at me here. You don't want shush, please, Sean. Jeez. All right, Frankie, it's all yours, buddy. Go ahead.
So yeah, so he was out there, and I was like, wow, that's cool. You got like that lone Miami Dolphin fan out there in LA. That was awesome.
That might have been Jalen Ramsey.
I don't know, but it was so cool that he was out there. I was like, and the camera got him, like literally. He was right there, and I was like, wow, that was really good.
Says, of course, Frankie saw that.
Come on, guys. You know I'm a big Dolphin fan.
Backing you up. Yeah, I saw the Dolphin jersey too.
Yeah.
I feel like Bradster's just kind of like, you know, I think Bradster's you're Bradster, right? That's your account. Your what's it
No. But no, I agree with you. Vince does know the formula, and the formula is big and sexy, I guess. So he's going with big, and look, you know, we spoke about it earlier. It looks like
it's big and sexy, but it's big. It's big.
It has to be sexy, because if not, I mean, is there? I mean, come on, let's keep it real. Like Hulk Hogan, that you could tell that guy, The Rock. You know, a lot of these guys made it. John Cena made it all the way to Hollywood. You know, so.
Yeah, no, but I mean, what's funny too is like when The Rock went, and I don't know about Cena, I have to check his out. But The Rock, when he went, Vince was executive producer on the first 5 films. That was part of the deal. Now I get it; those 5 films probably were not some of The Rock's best stuff, but Vince got money out of that deal.
What were those first 5 films? Can anybody
Uh,
name them? Do you know them?
well, I don't know all 5 of them, but one was the Tooth Fairy, right?
Was the Scorpion King one of them?
Scorpion King was one. No, Tooth Fairy was Hogan, wasn't it?
I don't know. Damn, that Tooth Fairy movie sucked. It was terrible.
I think Tooth
Can't
Fairy.
believe it. Did you watch that
It was
movie? I saw some
Walking
of it.
Tall. I remember the Scorpion King, Walking Tall. Game, the one with the girl, the little girl, and he was a football. He was quarterback.
Help us out, guys. Help us out. Help us out in the chat. I don't know.
Everybody's going like Tooth Fairy was Rock. Yeah, Tooth Fairy. Okay, was Rock.
That was a terrible movie. Jesus, that was bad.
Yeah, so that I don't know which ones. Hold on a minute. Let me see which ones. By the way, the Heat beat the Pistons, so they won by 13, right? It's 12.5, right? So Game Plan. There's the other one. Game Plan. Game Plan was another one of them. So I think those 3, and there was a couple more, I think, on there too. So,
Game Plan. I never saw that movie.
No, he was the quarterback. He was number 1.
Okay. I seen that. But I haven't seen the movie though. But I've seen the like the cover and like kind of like the commercial or whatever, the little preview that they did for it. I do remember that now.
All right, Frankie, we're gonna start wrapping it up. Corn Iowa Productions, appreciate you, man. The game plan there. What do you got, Mr. AEW? What do we got? What do we got? Final parting shot.
Again, just want to thank all you guys for being here. For you locals, CCW, it's having their Bash at the Brew in Hialeah on Friday night.
Yes,
I will be there. I will actually make an appearance. You guys are more than welcome. I mean, it's only $20 to get in, so it's a good price, and you get a good show. And one of my favorite wrestlers there is my boy Cha Cha Charlie. If you saw Seth Rollins, Finn Balor's cut, man, Cha-Cha had the exact same cut, except that you could tell when it's a WWE production and a CCW production, they didn't staple him. He just kept wrestling with that blood pouring, gushing out of his head. It was like a freak show. It was like a murder scene. I remember when he was on the ground and the blood was squirting out from his forehead. It was the most dramatizing thing. I said, "Oh my God, what is this?" Like I had gone with my dad and my brother. And we were like, "Yo, stop the fight! Stop the fight! This guy's gonna die."
Is he put a towel in?
Bro, it was so scary. I was like, "Yo,
towel, man, throw in the towel."
We were so worried, and they threw a towel, Sean. They threw a towel, and you want to know what the referee did? Instead of giving, he cleaned the mat.
Get the mat. Don't care about. Let that guy die. Get the mat. Don't get the mat.
Dude, I told my brother, I was like, "What is he doing? Forget about the mat. Give it to the guy. The guy can't even see."
I'll never forget one time we were in the ring and it was raining. It was sprinkling.
And
they brought the towel down and they threw it in and I intercepted it and they were supposed to wipe the ropes down and I wouldn't give them the towel. I was just holding it and they're trying to get the towel. I'm like, no, I want the towels.
Yeah, man, it was bad. But overall, yeah. So I'll be there. CCW. I think the show starts at 7. Don't quote me. I gotta look it up. But if you go on their website or on IG CCW, they have really good talent. I mean, and some of their
also go to Twitter. It's at CCW TV Live or Live TV. You can follow. They got a lot of, again, some of the guys you may not know. They're not, there are some named guys. There are some guys you might not know, but all of it's right there. They got a YouTube library. You can watch a lot of the matches they've had, and it's awesome. They're doing big things, man. They were in California. They just got back. They were over there for WrestleMania. They did 6 TV tapings. So
were you sad that Gangrel and Christian didn't show up to WWE for WrestleMania?
I think I would have preferred that entrance more than whatever the hell that was Edge was wearing on his head.
You didn't like that? I thought that was cool.
For what?
I thought that was cool. That
wasn't the Brood.
I know.
It's like, here's Brood Edge, and it's like, no, the guy's wearing mirrors. I don't know what the hell that is.
I thought it was cool. I thought it was different,
I love the part rising up out of the, but I would have rather him had the old Brood stuff on with the white, But,
yeah, but for a little more newer fans, that they don't know like the history.
Don't call it Brood Edge. Call it Evil Edge.
True, yeah, that's true.
And what about made me think? Okay, he's coming out. I get it. He doesn't have the long hair anymore and all this stuff. And they worked it out great, man. They had it where there were stories going around that Christian got the okay from Tony Khan, and Gangrel was going to be over there to record for CCW anyways, and some other stuff. So it all worked out, but I just don't think, when I think of Brood Edge, I lived Brood Edge. So I was expecting something else to come out.
True. I mean, I love the Demon Finn Balor. That was really
Oh
good.
no, I knew that was going to be.
That was so awesome.
That was going to be badass. I knew that was going to be at, and I think let's see, who was the longest entrance? I think it was Seth was the longest entrance. One of the longest, or no, Roman. Roman was the longest entrance of the whole WrestleMania.
Oh, and before we go as well, shout out to I know I'm you guys are gonna be like, oh my gosh, he's like all over it. But shout out to Bianca Belair. Did you hear Triple H when he said that about the little girl, that her mother had died?
Kudos to WWE, everybody in WWE. I mean, even Seth Rollins was backstage giving them high fives when they came back. When Bianca went to the ring, Seth Rollins was behind the curtain. As soon as they came back in, getting high fives. Yeah, everybody was made aware of what happened with that little girl's mother.
The little girl's mother died that morning, right?
And she died that morning, and the little girl said, I can't let my dancers down. So she went, because again, what a lot of people don't understand about a lot of these WrestleMania entrances is they start doing them on Thursday night. When the stadium, like at midnight, when everybody leaves and nothing else is going on in the stadium, they bring the wrestlers in to work on their entrances and things like that, so that people can't do the click, oh, here's so-and-so. Although they will let things out. Like, of course, what you call it was shown flying through the air. Logan Paul beforehand. Yeah. And of course, they showed the car that they drove in on, but they said it was for Dom's entrance, which of course turned out to be for Ray's entrance and things like that. But
I had spoken to my brother, right, about the little girl.
Yeah.
And my brother was like, well, do you think she should have done it? I remember her mom died. And I go to my brother, I was like, you want to know something? When you're a kid, I mean, you get the opportunity to be in WrestleMania, dance with Bianca Belair. That's probably one of her idols. I mean, you're not thinking about that. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that little girl's always going to remember, hey, look, God, my mom died. My mom passed away, but I also was able to go and dance for WrestleMania.
And she was the main dancer, too.
She was.
Portion of that entrance.
She did an amazing job, that little girl.
Beautiful.
She was awesome. And I was like, when I saw that, and Triple H, he teared up.
No, I mean, how can you not, though? I mean, again, like when you look at it, as you said, I mean, her mother passed away that morning. And again, I don't know all the ins and outs of if her mom was dealing with being sick for a while. I don't know. They didn't really get into what happened. They just said she had passed away that morning. So I don't know if it was something that was sudden or if it was something that had been, maybe a sickness or something that had been going. That was never,
I heard. That was
never brought. Oh, go ahead. You heard something. Okay.
I heard something. Don't quote me on it, but I heard it was a car accident. That's what I heard.
Okay. So something sudden and okay.
Yeah.
So, that was the one thing where I didn't know, what the psyche was, but you also, again, I mean, anybody that's played sports, been part of team and things like that, as you grow together as teams, you don't want to let other people down. And I get it. There's, your mother passed, but I'm sure she's probably brought up to where, you do your, it seems to me that she was brought up to where, you have a job, you have a task to do. You need to be there to do it. And it seemed like she took it and ran with it. And man.
Well, I'll give you a quick story here. One of my friends was DJing a party once, and we were it was like a 15s that he was doing, and I went to go help him. And during the time that we were DJing and I was helping him out, we find out that one of the girls who was at the party, her parents died in a car accident, and like coming to pick her up. And it was the most devastating. Everybody just was shell-shocked. The girl couldn't believe it. The girl was like 15, 16 years old. And I remember what we did is we all just, we all gathered hands and we just did a prayer and we stopped playing music. And so it reminded me of that because, I've never experienced it. I've lost one of my closest friends about 5 years ago. And that was shell-shocking to me. So I could just imagine that little girl having to, go with...
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. No, I thought you were done. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, and with the also thing is, I mean, with what Triple H said was, once they found out, they did everything they could to just be there, for the little girl and the dance troupe and everything else. So I'm sure they made sure that that they were, probably top notch everything. I mean, usually that happens with any of the performers that are back there to do. I think with the Asuka entrance, they had a lot of the female independent wrestlers come out dressed up as, I guess, the Asuka with or a couple of them, and so they usually do that. I remember when they did Cena's entrance a long time ago. They brought out a lot of the independent guys and gave them a chance to be like on a big stage. It's one of those things they do. But yeah, that story was just when they said that, when he said that, I was kind of like, man, because like she just put it all behind her. She didn't miss a beat.
And you're a father.
Said that story, I would not have known that there was, what I'm saying, like she went out there and look, I think how old do you think she was?
That little girl must have been like maybe 5 or 6.
Okay, yeah, no, I was thinking about the same thing, maybe 7 at the oldest, and she didn't miss a beat in front of 70, 80,000 people, on such a hard something that she just went out there and did it, man. It's like that's special. That's special.
And not only that, like I was telling you, you're a father, so imagine like going through that, if you lose a child or something like that, and then her losing her mother. I mean, man, that hit me as well. I was like, wow, that's really, really a sad story, but kind of like a happy ending in a way, because she was able to fulfill, such a huge part of WrestleMania. And a lot of people who didn't know about it, it's good to talk about it. That way you guys can see that, there's more to just the wrestling, that I actually like that. And I hope, wrestling does that more, where, they kind of showcase like stories like that. I know that was kind of sudden, but still, it's something that you will always remember. I will always remember that in WrestleMania of the little girl.
100%. And I want to thank everybody that's been on with us. And oh my goodness. All right, I'm going to try to hit everybody in the chat as I go up. So anybody that I miss, I apologize now. Official DJ Mimo, Bradster, Corn Iowa Productions, Nate G, EWD Jr., Nate G, Cap for Life, Nicholas Colmenares, the brother of Frankie, Mr. AEW, Josh. We've got Terry, appreciate you, my friend. My dad, appreciate you. Big Nick, appreciate you. Joe Romano. Look at that. Somebody else has said, definitely thought that was our truth. Who is KSI again? I love these guys. Now I don't feel so bad. Let's see here. All right, I think I got everybody.
You forgot our truth.
I forgot our truth, man. What was the guy that he had the fake his fake buddy, little Johnny? Was it little Johnny? Remember when he had the whole gimmick where he had the little fake guy, the invisible guy with him all the time? Little Johnny, I think it was.
I think it was that. I'm not a big R-Truth fan.
No, I love the comedy stuff.
What happened to him? He hasn't been on recently, has he?
No, I think he hurt. He got hurt. I think he
got
tore
hurt
or something. Yeah.
Oh, but
little Jimmy. That's it. Thank you, JD Nemo. Sorry.
But only AEW wrestlers get hurt.
Oh my God! Really? This is you? Only AEW wrestlers get hurt?
That's the backstory. They criticize.
Listen, AEW wrestlers get hurt doing stupid shit.
That's true. Unnecessary moves sometimes.
Dante Martin.
Unnecessary.
Yes.
Unnecessary.
Wrestling with concussions.
Oh man, they need to put us as the people who create the stories in AEW, and we will make it bigger than WWE.
There you heard it, Mr. AEW himself, Frankie Fresco.
I love WWE.
Shawn Stanley, huh?
I love WWE as well. I love them both.
Yeah, listen to this guy. He loves them both, but boy, he's gonna fight for that AEW. He's gonna fight for that AEW. I'm all elite, baby. MJF ain't got nothing on me.
Guys, check me out. It's CCW. I'll be out there on Friday. If you know, on my social media, just send me a message if you guys decide to come. I'll be out there.
Check them out at Fresco Music, and then I'm at Sean _Stanley 11. If you got any other thing you want to talk wrestling, go ahead and follow me. I usually do a lot more chat during the live stuff. I kind of stopped for a little while because I was giving away spoilers to the people on the West Coast. And I have a lot of people from the West Coast that follow me because of O. And they got upset that I was spoiling everything as it happened. So I stopped doing a lot as much as far as the commenting on the shows. But I think I'm going to jump back in and start doing it again. I want to get this thing rolling. I want to get me and Frankie rolling. I want us to be at the guys. And we do live shows from CCW. Why can't
we could do a CCW live show. And not only that, but I mean, we could start getting some wrestlers on. I mean, I know some of the CCW talent. I could probably get some wrestlers from CCW and just to showcase them. And I know Nelio, who's the owner of CCW, he'll probably work with us as well. So it's something that we could do. Never know.
He's Frankie Fresco. I'm Sean Stanley, and we appreciate you all. And as always, so long from the Sunshine State.